No, you did fine. So one of the things that the council's been taking a look at and discussing is whether or not to not implement the full 42-hour week all this year. There have been proposals to do half of it this year, half of it next year, two-thirds of it this year, two-thirds and one-third of it next year, three-quarters of it this year, a quarter of it next year, all of it this year. Do you want to address that for us?
Absolutely. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to that. We did provide the numbers and gave you a way that we could divide it if we absolutely needed to. I'd like to encourage you to go ahead and do it all. There's a good reason for that. Last time when I spoke, I talked about the serious impacts of both the lack of resilience and the ability to allow our medics to recover and develop cumulative fatigue. Those things are devastating, and we've seen what can happen from that in the worst case scenario. So what we'd like to do is continue on the pace that we're at right now. We got some of that funding last year with the thought that we would continue that and finish it up this year. And so the problems that we're going to have if we split it up is that we're going to see a delay in the implementation. We're going to get part of the way through, and then we're going to have to hit a hard stop because we're out of money. Anytime you start a process and a procedure to start moving forward on something, you gain momentum, you gain efficiencies, you start rolling on it, and you start making serious progress. And my fear is that right when we get to that point, we're going to have to come to a hard stop because we got to wait for the rest of the funding. So that will cause some restart issues that we're going to have in hiring and recruiting and processing people through the process to get them in. So there's going to be that. And I would say that's probably the hard impact. Then there's a softer impact, which can become very real to us. And that's the message that we send to our workforce. This is an opportunity right now to stand behind them, to speak for them, to show them how much we value them, how important they are to us, and what difference they make to our community. The medics, men and women that work in Austin Travis County EMS are highly, highly dedicated people. They're also highly skilled clinicians. They're hard to come by. It's important to get as many of them as we can in the organization, train them, maintain them, support them, and keep them for as long as we can. Last year when I spoke to you, I came with a long list, pretty comprehensive list of all of the things that we needed to do to write up the issues that we were facing at the time. And it was not a management list, it's a workforce list. All of us had to work on this. And I can tell you in all sincerity, we have met 100% of that. We have done all the things that we said that we were going to do to make ourselves stronger and healthier. I can tell you that our morale is higher than it's been in a long time. I'm already seeing the drop in turnover rate. I'm already seeing a difference in the way our personnel hold themselves up. And it's all because we're moving positively to try to get a reasonable work week. Right now we're working 48 hours a week, minimum. That's without unplanned overtime. But you all know as well as I do that there's vacations, there's sick leave, there's all these things that we have to cover. And so people work far in excess of 48 hours a week. And most of the world works 40 hours a week. We work 48, and we have a tough job. Some of the things that we see and endure in our work is tough. It's very, very difficult. And I don't need to describe those things for you, but you can imagine some of the things that some of our medics have to endure in just the normal course of the day. It's very difficult. And what we're asking for, stand behind us. Let us continue to fill this gap. Help us move to a reasonable work week. Help me give 6 hours of life back to our medics so that they can invest that time in their families, in themselves, in the relationships that keep them alive. And let's not lose momentum. I think right now we're at a critical stage. My recommendation, you guys, is plow ahead, plow ahead. I know it's tough, and I know that you've made many, many, many tough decisions coming to this point, but you really ought to be proud of the things that you're doing. You've done some great stuff. This is an opportunity for another win. So I can go cheerleader on you, but I don't think I should do that. Does that answer your question, Mayor?
Yes. Any further questions from the dais on this issue? Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you. Not on that issue, but on another EMS issue. The base budget that we're now working off of includes a cut to a position that you had proposed, and that was 9 months of funding for one sworn designated medical officer and associated equipment costs to monitor clinical performance. And the descriptive text talks about that position being responsible for ensuring the care medics provide is safe and meets local and national standards of care. So I just want to talk with you about whether I'm a little concerned about cutting that position without at least hearing from you what the impact could be on the quality of care that our EMS medics provide. Clearly, you thought it was an important priority, or you wouldn't have forwarded it for the city manager's consideration.
One of the things, like I said, we are clinicians. We address public safety, but we do healthcare. That's what we do. Anytime that you practice medicine as we do, it requires a pretty high level of training and a pretty high level of oversight. We have our medical director's office that sets the standards for us. Then it's up to us to go out and monitor and oversee the work that we do. The challenge that we face is that over the years, our workforce size has almost doubled, but we haven't been able to add sufficient numbers of quality assurance staff. This is one of those staff. Our goal is to put one of those persons in each one of our districts, and we're too short. So we're asking for one more. So that's the challenge that presents for us. It is important for us. It's very critical that we fill those quality positions because it is how we monitor our healthcare that we deliver.
So you're too short. This would have made you, had this, were this to stay in the budget, you would be one short.
Correct.
But you do have people in the field doing this work. They just simply won't be able to share that workload with.
That's correct.
Across
I think
those
I've only got
positions.
3 right now. Ultimately, we want to have 5.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? Chief, thank you very much.
Thank you.